Tell me about your work. What is it that the Academy is devoted to?
Oh my goodness. The first question, what do you do? What do I work? There is so much, I wouldn't necessarily know where to start. Because I'm also a clinical counselor, I'm a master certified coach, and I'm also working with a sales training and sales management consulting firm. But my heart and my mission in life is something else, and that is the International Metaphysical Academy, which I officially launched in 2009. However, I started this way, way earlier. I would think probably about 30 years ago. I was always drawn to unexplainable phenomena. As a child, I grew up very Catholic, and I never questioned anything. Miracles made sense to me. Everything was beautiful. I believed that priests were called personally by God, and so were nuns. They just had little different activities. And so my journey started really, really early. And my more critical investigation started quite a bit later. And that's when I married someone who was not Catholic and was officially ousted from the Catholic Church. And even though I had been very, very active as a youth leader and organized in early life over 300 women within 3 years, I suddenly got this letter when I had immigrated to Canada that I was no longer part of the church. That was a major shock, and with hindsight, I think it was very valuable because I learned a lot of very good things, a lot of good lessons early in life about the Catholic teachings. I studied the Bible, I was very interested, and loved it. I embraced it wholeheartedly. And then later in life, I looked into different types of education, metaphysical or spiritual education. I traveled extensively. I was very, very fortunate as a young girl and young adult to travel. I was, I think when I was 28, in over 36 countries, which is very unusual. And my father, who was a great idol of mine, encouraged me to learn and to meet people and to see how they think, how they feel. And on these journeys, I was always drawn to looking into different types of denominations or religious practices. And I learned early on how beautiful everything just fit in everyone's culture, and that everyone really in their heart was seeking the same things, which was love and freedom and truth and kindness, and all those good things that pretty much I would think most everyone wants deep in their heart. And so on this journey, I then discovered that there is something that people refer to as mysticism, something is metaphysics, which really is more of a modern version of something that has been around for a long time. Metaphysical thought today is an expression of an attempt to put science and ancient knowledge together. And anyone who is very serious in exploring metaphysical knowledge will realize that the depths is absolutely life-changing. So there are many reasons why I started this academy. But the knowledge I have been able to acquire, which also includes transmitted information from the beyond that I got from a woman in Austria who I believe is probably and most likely the #1 channel in the world. I translated much of this information, and I use this in the Academy as a framework of reference. I include different scripts, different perspectives, different religious thoughts, and I invite people to think the information through and look at if it makes sense, if it resonates, if it is something that they can use in their life to make their life better and happier and more in harmony. And that is so tremendously fulfilling for me to see how people change, how they feel safe, in the classes, how they are respected. It does not matter what their history is, what their beliefs are, what kind of things they held to be true. It is totally safe to explore new ideas and also to doubt. I was thinking this morning, one of the things that really is so beautiful in the classes that we have is that level of respect and safety. And so when individuals go through serious questions about themselves, about their life history, or any poor choices they may have made in the past, we are looking at that as a learning opportunity, and truly as a learning opportunity. And learning doesn't mean just intellectual understanding of what was going on in life, but it is about taking action, taking responsible action. Many times I find that people get lost in what I like to refer to as spiritainment industry. And or in other words, anything that is very popular these days, any kind of spiritual activities that just make you feel good and warm and fuzzy. Well, that's all very nice, and I'm not saying one should not find ways to find, experience or enjoy a community where you can feel safe and good and have reinforcement to find your inner center, such as different classes or meditation or yoga class. I mean, there are many, many, many out there. However, what I find often missing is that there is a denial of the other side of life that is so much affecting us, and that is the unrecognized enormous power of evil that is there. I know many people, many religions even deny its existence. And I always say, well, just look around. You don't need to say it's not there. And what we need to do as part of the academy work is not only provide solid knowledge and information, but also encourage critical thinking and encouragement to deal with things that are happening in our world more responsibly. And when I see my students doing this in their world, in their relationships, at work, in their relationships with themselves and how they take better care of their health, of their own wellness, their own integrity, their own truthfulness to themselves, and see the changes that happen and how their environment changes with them, I don't know of anything more beautiful. Sometimes I'm asked, who in the world would go to your academy class? Well, it's interesting. The people who are drawn to it are usually people who have already acquired a lot of knowledge. It's very rare that I have someone who say, I don't have a clue, tell me what's going on. Most people know some things, some people know quite a lot. And what's interesting is that it doesn't matter if you have any degree, any formal education, or you don't. And the people who come also come from different religious backgrounds. Some have no denomination that they subscribe to. Others are still searching. Others, again, are questioning where they have been maybe for the last 30, 40, maybe even 50 years, and want to review some aspects of their beliefs that they are not so certain about anymore. And here we have an opportunity to address a huge variety of subjects. If you look at the website, for example, and look under curriculum, it's a massive program. And even though there are probably many things you have your own thoughts about, but if you're really open-minded, maybe there are some things you could review or reevaluate. And I encourage you to do that. One of the things that I pride myself to not do is to force or coerce anyone into anything that is not right. I know it doesn't work because I believe with those 7 billion people we have on this planet, we all have our own relationship to the divine. It doesn't matter whether we are Christians or Muslims or Jewish, it doesn't matter. And so who would I be or anyone be to tell people what to believe and what to do? So my role I see more as a role of a guide, someone who is maybe a mentor, someone who shares information and really encourages individuals to think. And thinking, I realize and observe with great horror, is something that many people don't do. However, being an avid student of the internet, I know there's lots of nonsense, but I also see that more and more people are starting to think and starting to question and are doing this sincerely, not just out of rebellion or just because they want to just mouth off on something. They want to really learn something. And I'm thrilled to see that especially the younger generation is very committed, in my experience. And of course my experience is limited, but based on what I have seen is that many young people are starting to think and are willing to learn. And boy, it doesn't get much better than that. I just want to tell you, I love to work with people. When I see how they are engaging, how they're learning, how they're laughing, how they form new friendships and camaraderies, and take to heart what they're learning, I feel great. At the end of the day, and we usually have one-day classes, I do feel a little bit tired, of course, but I feel so good inside. I just really, truly, truly don't know what I would rather do.